It was at this moment he knew he fucked up.
Yup, you know what this is, man. This is your favorite channel, man. CTB, Chin Tuck, Boxing. I'm your boy Jay Slay. So what up to him, man?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
Most definitely. Thanks for tuning in, man. We got a great show for you guys today. Of course, everybody know about the news that Devin Haney signed to fight Kambosos, man. He signed I won't call it a slave deal, but it's damn near close to a slave deal, man. It's a horrible deal. No promoter in their right mind was told their fighter to sign that deal. But of course, Eddie Hearns is not really Haney's promoter. So we're gonna talk about that and how the networks and the promoters seem to be coming up with a game plan to counteract these independent boxers, man, and try to get back into their bag a little bit. So I'm gonna ask you a question, man. What do you think about that deal? First off, what was your first impression when you heard the deal that Devin Haney had to sign?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, the writing was on the wall. If you look at the history of Kambosos and Devin Haney and them trying to negotiate this fight, it was clear that Kambosos wanted to get the Lomachenko fight and even a rematch with Lopez before taking a fight with Devin Haney. So, he tried to wait on, Lomachenko, and then Lomachenko went, to serve his country, which everybody understand, big up to him. And he tried to get around it. So, but once I realized that his only option was Devin Haney, and he sent him a contract and told him, what I never like for people to do, especially when it ain't like the fight gonna be made in a couple weeks. They tell him he got a 3-day window to take the deal or else. When I heard he only had a 3-day window, I knew right away the deal was gonna be horrible. So when he get the deal, we realized that it's a 2-fight deal. Both fights is in Australia. He has to beat Kambosos, come back again in 6 months or 7 months or whatever, 4 or 5 months, fight him again in Australia, beat him again, and if he beat him again, it gives him the option to fight Lomachenko in the 3rd fight. And I think that, if I'm not sure, maybe I think that Kambosos is making 70% more, and he's getting like 30% as far as the pay cut. So overall, the deal sucked. But I will say this: I understand why Devin Haney did it. He's young. He's only 23, I think, 24 years old. He got another 10 years in boxing. Sometimes you have to take, I guess, a raw deal, especially when you have what he can have. Like, to be undisputed at 23, 24 years old, at 135 pounds, and to make himself, a borderline star in boxing after that. I think he would be a star. Maybe not a superstar yet, but he would definitely be a star in boxing. Sometimes you got to take that low ball offer because you got to see what you may be out, 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's most definitely all facts. I think it's a bad deal, not just because of the money. I think Kambosos is getting like 80%. I think it said he was getting $10 million to Haney's $2 million. So if that's the case, I'm pretty sure that's I would have to equate that as being almost 80% of the pie. That depends on what the chop up is on the pay-per-view sales. But it's also a bad deal because of what they're fighting at. They're fighting 2 fights in Australia. So whether Devin Haney wins the first fight and becomes undisputed, he has to go back to Australia again and fight him again in Australia. And we seen how that benefited Manny Pacquiao when he went in for Jeff Horn on ESPN. And we see how ESPN and Top Rank, some people say Top Rank had their hand in that fight, man, had their hand on Manny Pacquiao being robbed because Manny Pacquiao was looking to leave Top Rank, and Bob Arum didn't want that belt leaving with him. So by them fighting on not only on ESPN but also in Australia, man, Haney got to look spectacular in this fight, man. He can't go in here slouching. He got to be on top of his game. It's a long flight, so you can't go out there with jet lag. He's gonna have to go out there at least two weeks earlier, the way he get his body accustomed to the time difference. And then when he get out there for those 2 weeks, he got to make sure that the food he eating is great. People be poisoning food and all that other kind of shit out in the world of boxing. Boxing's corrupt, man. You got to think about everything. So there's so many variables to this fight that I don't see, that I don't like. But like you said, man, the young man, he has to sign that deal to get this fight. It's kind of like what Mayweather kind of did, I guess you could say. Mayweather had to buy himself out of Top Rank and take that risk on his own. So it's kind of like Devin Haney taking a risk, but instead of putting his money up, he putting his skill set up. So you got to kind of respect that, man. You got to respect a fighter who's willing to go out there in deep water and let his skills do talking, man, for real.